Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to another exciting edition of The American Revolution, Lesson 4. Okay, you know what you need to do, right? Yeah, you need your mentor text. You need a pencil. And you need a highlighter. Okay, we're not going to talk about our learning goals quite yet. We'll talk about those right before it's your turn. So, let's do our first read on page 8 and 9. Okay, so go ahead and turn to that. Of course, I want you to circle any words that you maybe don't know or that are difficult. And then look for the words inspired, disguised, essential. You might want to say those out loud to yourself as well. Let's begin. Okay, I'm gonna move myself over here. All right, so The Fight for Independence by Aaron Britton. In his 1776 pamphlet, Common Sense, political philosopher Thomas Paine wrote, "We have it in our power to begin the world over again." Paine was extremely critical of British rule in the colonies. In his pamphlet, Paine argued that independence from Britain was the only sensible course for American colonists to take. His words inspired thousands of colonists to join the fight for independence. Many took up arms against the British, but some helped the effort in other ways. Over 200,000 soldiers fought on the American side, including more than 5,000 African Americans. At first, most soldiers fought as members of militias. Militias are groups of unpaid soldiers who fight in defense of their home state. However, many militiamen returned home after serving for 6 months, and the American side needed soldiers who would fight for longer. Eventually, General George Washington organized the Continental Army. This army was made up of full-time soldiers from all 13 colonies. By the end of the war, thousands of soldiers and sailors from France and Spain had joined the fight as well, as did several Native American tribes. Women were technically not allowed to fight, but some made their way into combat anyway, disguised as men. Female soldiers such as Deborah Sampson and Margaret Corbin became famous for their courage on the battlefield. Far from the front lines, women were essential to the Revolution's success in other ways. Literary figures such as Mercy Otis Warren and Phyllis Wheatley promoted the patriot cause in writing. Others, such as Esther de Burt Reed, raised desperately needed funds for the war. Throughout the war, women worked tirelessly as spies, messengers, nurses, cooks, and seamstresses. A revolution is a push for a major change, and America's war for independence was indeed a revolutionary war. People from various backgrounds worked together to begin the world over again. When they were finished, they had formed a new nation. However, this new nation was not without struggles. The years to come would bring new challenges, new divisions, and new conflicts. Okay, so if you take a look at the timeline at the bottom, so 1775, George Washington's appointed commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. 1776, Common Sense is published. The Declaration of Independence is issued. 1778 and 1779, France and Spain enter the conflict on the side of the colonists. 1781, the British surrender to American and French forces after the Battle of Yorktown. And 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially ends the Revolutionary War and recognizes America's independence. Take a look at page 8. There's our word inspired. So inspired is to make someone want to do something or believe in something. Okay, circle that word. Make sure you write the definition in the margin. Disguised. Aha. And there's a woman in disguise as a soldier. Disguised to have one's identity hidden. Okay, so if we dress up for things or we want to hide out, like for me when I go hunting, I disguise myself in camouflage. Essential. We've heard that word a lot this last year. Essential, essential workers. Is necessary or very important. So the women were essential here. They were very important. They did so many other things to help the cause. Don't forget to circle it and write down the definition. All right, here are our learning goals today. I can identify the definitions of words with multiple meanings. I can use resources to identify the meanings of words, and I can use context clues to determine the best definition of multiple meaning words. All right. Let's discuss our context clues. They're words, phrases, or sentences that help us define unfamiliar words in a text. So you've got your type of clue, which could be a definition or a synonym. You've got restatements. You've got your inferences, and you've got antonyms. And it's telling you what to look for each one. It's giving you different things that will help you to find what the word possibly means within your text. All right. So if we look at the word course, well, I can think of a couple different meanings for this word. Okay. It can be land laid out for an activity, like a course. Okay. Like I cannot think of, I'm trying to think of what it's not coming to me, boys and girls. Obstacle course. There it is. Like an obstacle course. It also means a part of a meal. So like you have your first course or your second course or your third course. I mean, we don't, usually we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But if you go out to a restaurant or if you are maybe at a formal function, they serve up different things for courses. Or it also means a way to proceed. So in this instance, we know it's not land laid out for an activity because independence from Britain was the only sensible course for American colonists to take. That's not part of a meal, is it? So it is a way to proceed. And here's how. His words inspired thousands of colonists to join the fight for independence. That was the course of action for them to take. Okay, so these context clues let me conclude that course in this paragraph means a way to proceed. Since colonists sought a path or course toward gaining their independence. Your turn. I want you, on your own, determine the meanings of figures and divisions on page 9. Okay? Look up the meanings of each word in the dictionary. Google an online dictionary to look up each meaning. Or the meanings, because there's multiple meanings to these. And then I want you to use the context clues to help you to figure out or infer the correct definitions of the words within this text. Okay? Go for it. Take 5 minutes to pause the video and then come on back and we'll discuss. Welcome back. All right. Here's our word figures. Figure, a number symbol, a shape or form, a person of distinction. Okay, person of distinction, importance. Well, we know here literary figures, such as Mercy, Otis, Warren, and Phyllis Wheatley, that's not a number symbol, right? We also know it's not a shape or form because they're talking about people. And I underlined the people that they're talking about. So it is a person of distinction here. How'd you do? Divisions is at the bottom of our page. So division, a partition. So kind of like in between, could be like a wall, a partition. A separation by differences or of opinion. And a mathematical, I think it's supposed to say operation. Okay. So, we know it's not a partition. It says it would bring new divisions and new conflicts. And it's not mathematical at all. So, when I underline people from various backgrounds worked together. Okay, well that helps me figure out that there's going to be some separation anytime you have various backgrounds. However, this new nation was not without its struggles. So separation by differences of opinion. That's what divisions means here. Did you get it? All right. All right. Are you a 1, 2, 3, or 4? I can identify the definitions of words with multiple meanings. I can use resources to identify the meanings of words. Resources would be a dictionary. And I can use context clues to determine the best definition of multiple meaning words. What'd you get? Write it in the corner of your mentor text and have an amazing day. See you tomorrow.